Hey, what's going on, everybody? Doubling up on the videos on you guys today. Listen, I told you I'm in my XRP bag right now, just in the process of doing my fact finding, as you should be if you are considering investing in not only XRP, but any digital asset, really any investment. Again, this is not financial advice. I'm just trying to simply share the information as I have it. Found a video from Forbes publication, Balancing the Ledger, where they sat down with Brad Garlinghouse to talk about XRP and Facebook's Project Libra. If you fast forward to the 10-minute, 40-second mark, I'm going to play you something here, and I want to ask you a question before we look at this. Did Brad know something about Facebook's Libra project that the rest of us didn't? Have a listen.
Received had Facebook not been the point of the arrow. Facebook has been in the crosshairs of a bunch of governments around the world. And I think what we saw happen was, not surprisingly in my opinion, the regulators saying, whoa, wait a minute, there's a trust issue over here that we're concerned about, and now you want to go into, consumer financial services. And again, the way that the initial white paper positioned Libra, the Libra coin, was really as a competitor to fiat. I think that's a different animal than certainly how we think about, using XRP and the role of many digital assets in the future.
I'm going to pause this right here. Give me just a second. You know what? I'll cue that up here just in a moment after we get done watching this clip. But did you hear the way he said, the way really he positioned Ripple and XRP in conjunction to the way Facebook has positioned Libra? He said that Facebook basically came out with the white paper of Libra, and the way they positioned themselves was an adversary to fiat versus the way that we have positioned Ripple, or more importantly XRP, would be as a conciliary resource to fiat as well as other digital assets. Digital assets. Remember that, because I want to come back to that again. As we talked about earlier in the video, or in our last video, XRP, getting ready to tokenize some 30,000 stocks. Technically, those are digital assets. So what other digital assets could we see trading on the XRP ledger? So right there, we're kind of getting some insight as to what other plans the shot callers over at Ripple have in terms of how they plan to use XRP. I mean, this is magnificent. Keep watching.
Are you bullish on Facebook's ability to execute Libra as they originally laid it out in the white paper?
No.
Look at that smile. Listen, if you have ever had inside information and you were talking to someone or a group of people and they didn't know you had inside information, and they had asked you a question, you gave them an answer, that is the exact smile you would have on your face. It's the exact facial expression. Did Brad know that Facebook was going to have to face this insurmountable task of trying to get the okay to go ahead and launch Libra? Let's listen in.
I guess if I parsed your question exactly,
I love that
do I think they have the technical competency to do that? Sure.
But will it happen?
I think in the regulatory headwinds they're facing, I think are substantial. And, should they have predicted that? We can debate that.
He says that they can debate that, but I'm willing to believe that he believes that they should have been able to anticipate that, simply because Brad Garlinghouse is a CEO of Ripple. If you do a deep dive on how Ripple has been proceeding through basically the start of the company, they've been trying to stay ahead of the curve at every turn, and bringing in former regulators, former heads of institutions, former members of the Treasury, because they want to utilize those networks. They're basically using cash for access, which is something all wealthy people do. Right? We want to leverage your guys' network. We're going to bring you in. We're going to pay you. We're going to leverage the information that you have. We're going to leverage the relationships that you have to make sure that way we're not stepping on any toes. We're playing nice. The regulators know that we're coming, and they don't necessarily see us as a threat. They're not sneaking up on the dog. They allow the dog to see them approaching from very, very far out, and they want to act in as a manner that, again, is going to aid what these people are doing. They want to act in a manner that's going to be a conciliatory resource to fiat and the current status quo that we have. This is grade A stuff right here.
But I think, what they have said publicly, I believe, is that they don't intend to launch anything until they have made regulators comfortable. I've read some of the statements from some regulators, and I think it's going to be a tough road.
Now, how does Brad have access to those documents? Easy, again, because he has former regulators who are within the Ripple family, helping them navigate these uncharted waters, right? So, of course, again, all these guys and all these gals, they all know each other. They hang out at the same clubs. They go to eat, lunch together, dinner together. They attend the same conferences. When Facebook basically came out and said we want to be a competitor to fiat in so many words, I mean, come on, they basically opened the doors for XRP to be, the golden child that the current status quo would turn to help them bridge whatever gaps that they may have. I mean, at this point, you have to give it up to Brad Garlinghouse, the Ripple family, the Ripple family, the XRP developers, as to how they have danced in unison and the way that they have approached this this task right from the beginning. I mean, it's nothing short of amazing and wow.
So you don't think it'll happen?
If I were a betting man, I were taking an auger bet on, will Libra, maybe there is actually.
There should be.
There should be. If there's not, I would bet that Libra, I think there's a time-based element on auger as well. So I'll say, I'll take the over-under of, let's say the end of 2022, I think Libra will not have launched.
I think it's funny that Brad chooses 2022. I was watching an interview, and again, I go through the majority of this man's information and a lot of things that are coming out on Ripple again as I'm weighing the investment opportunity again, as any prospect should weigh the perspectives. But I think it's funny he chose 3 years out. So right now it's 2019. 3 years from now will be 2022. Brad has been on record multiple times saying that he's not worried about the price over a 3-day span, a 3-week span, a 3-month span. He views it in increments of 3 to 5 years. So if he thinks that, Libra could potentially get its legs under itself in 2022, where does that leave Ripple? I'm willing to bet that should this thing go off that, the majority of people think it may go off, Ripple will probably be ahead by miles. And I'm not even going to begin to speculate as to what the price could be, but they will have gained a significant foothold. So when you're kind of going through a lot of this information, it's a lot like jazz. You kind of have to listen to what's not being said. Like with jazz, you have to listen to the notes not being played in order to really get a good taste of what's going on your palate there. So I wanted to share this video with you guys. Want to jump back into what he was talking about when he said as to how we view digital assets and how XRP's role, in what role XRP will play in that. So give me just a second here. Okay, so this is basically a story that came out a few days ago. CoinField to open up 30,000 stocks for trading on Ripple's XRPL. Basically, this is stocks being tokenized, digital assets, or stocks becoming digital assets to trade on the XRP ledger. And again, guys, if you watched the video before this one, I told you this is how it starts. We start by tokenizing, assets that we already have, stocks, something a little bit more simple. From there, we'll probably move into tokenizing real estate and, God knows what else after that. If you watch the video that's making its way around the internet, there is a screenshot at about, maybe it's the 13-second mark where someone who is at Ripple is writing on the board, and I think it says in XRP, in parentheses, it has ERC20. So I wouldn't even be surprised if the next phase of this is Ripple beginning to work on some interoperability system where now you can use maybe ERC20 tokens that have been used to offer security token offerings and then use those to trade on the XRPL. I mean, now that I'm looking at this, the sky is the absolute limit. I have much more homework to do and drill down upon and see what I can figure out. Guys, leave a comment section in the comment section below. Do you think Brad Garlinghouse knew that Facebook was going to have a little bit of an uphill battle getting this thing off the ground. And what do you think about, that little context clue he gave us when he said the way that we view XRP working in conjunction with digital assets in the future? Till next time, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.